What is your best hold on? It gets worse stories. Last ducking April, my dog died. He was only about 7 years old, and an undiagnosed tumor ruptured, and he died within a few hours. And then my dad's cancer started growing again. And then my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And then my father-in-law was diagnosed with cancer. All within a few weeks. My mum lit a bonfire and left it unattended, which set fire to the grass, which set fire to the garden shed, which set the hedge on fire, which blew up some gas canisters, which set fire to a rat nest, which spewed burning rats all over the yard, which the firefighters chopped in half with axes, which my dad had to clean up. Edit: this is absolutely 100% true, and although it left my brother with a nasty rat phobia, we survived intact. The smell of burning rat was the worst part. I'm such this story has also gone down into the channels of West Midlands Fire Service history. Thanks for the gold. A month ago our ceiling fell down and caused a total mess. The room was destroyed. Nightmare. Then wasps started coming in, lots of wasps. Turns out we had a few nests in our roof, and they were coming in the newly formed hole. So the exterminator came, sprayed his spray, and we watched as over the following few days literally thousands of wasps fell from the vortex to heck, until they all died. Then our roofer came round to remove what was left of the rotten timber and plaster. I heard a blood-curdling scream and saw the poor man swarmed with wasps. Turns out the nest was bigger than the exterminator thought. It was over 3 feet long and very much still active. He came and removed the nest, still crawling with wasps. Then our insurance company said they wouldn't cover any repairs as it was wear and tear from a leak we had no way of knowing about. A friend of mine found out her husband was cheating. Huge blowout. And he moved out that night. The next morning she woke up still shell-shocked and discovered her 10-year-old black lab had died in the kitchen. My wife of 10 years left me in May because she never actually loved me. In August I found out that before she actually filed for divorce in July, she had started dating a new guy who she fell in love with after just meeting him. While struggling to get through this, I was told by our 5-year-old that the new boyfriend had bought her underwear, that my ex had her model for a Snapchat and sent to the boyfriend. Edit: the boyfriend bought the underwear for my daughter and my ex recorded my daughter in the underwear and sent to her boyfriend. 25 or so years ago I was working in a restaurant. I was working a double one day, and on my break, I called my answering machine to check my messages at home. First messages from my mom. The doctor has just told her she has stage 4 lung cancer. Next messages from my dad. They are divorced and live in different states. The doctor has just told him he has stage 4 lung cancer. So, not only are both my parents dying, but they are doing so at the same time 800 miles apart. That was the day life stopped being fun. First job was third shift at a Taco Bell. It was very mismanaged. It was not uncommon to run out of things, especially third shift. One night, ding. Car, I would like a beef supreme burrito. Me, sorry sir, but we are currently out of beef. Car, okay, I will take steak then. Me, and steak. We currently have chicken and beans. Car, really? Me, yes. Car, okay, I will take chicken then. I would also like a large Badger Blast. Me, sigh. We are currently out of Badger Blast. Also we are out of large cups. Normally I would just give you the XL cups and say nothing, but we are out of those too. Car, really? Wow. What about 2 medium lemonades? Me, this guy's really desperate for bellman. Okay, no intention of charging for drinks for putting up with shit. Car, and can I have some fire sauce too? Me. Car, what do you have? Me, mild. Car, why are you open? Me, I have no idea. Car, okay, I will take the mild then. That will be all. Me, thank you. Your total is total pull around. Give food drinks. Drives off. Ding. Car, 2 or many more that night. Can I have beef, whatever the heck? Me, sigh. My brother died of a heroin overdose. Then 2 weeks later, my mom died of cancer. My brother moved to Vermont to work at a ski resort to escape his stressful job in Philly. Before he even started his first day of work, he skied into a tree and broke his collarbone. leaving him unable to work there. He next found a job on a passenger train in Alaska working as a bartender. On one of his days off he was playing basketball with coworkers and tore his ACL that he had torn years before in high school. After coming home for surgery recover, he landed a job in Denver. He was mountain biking down a slope and managed to hit his head on a tree, which gave him a major concussion. Days later, his girlfriend and he were having lunch at a restaurant and he lost consciousness, fell out of his seat, and coded. His girlfriend performed CPR until paramedics arrived to take him to the hospital. Fortunately, he was resuscitated. Two of my friends had a falling out. I was dying to know what was going on between them, because they lived together, and I felt like I was watching mommy and daddy get divorced. One friend was never around, and the other told me he honestly didn't know what going on. After a couple months, I finally got someone on one time with the other friend, who explained everything to me in detail. Basically he asked if he could date the other friend's cousin, who emphatically said no. But, since the other friend had dated his cousin without asking, he violated bro code and started seeing her anyway. In dating this girl, he came to find out that she and the other friend were more than just cousins. They had carried on a physical relationship for years. Basically they ducked like bunnies whenever the family wasn't looking. But hold on, it gets worse. He was told this went on for 10 years. The girl was 22, her cousin was 24. They had been having sex since middle school. But hold the duck on. It gets worse. The girl's father and her cousin's father are identical twins. Let that sink in for a second. Genetically, they are half siblings. At that point in the story, I downed my beer and apologized for even asking about what was going on. I wish I never knew. As a follow-up, they no longer live together or speak to each other. I'm still really close with the incest-free friend. I see the other friend in passing, and we are still friends. But it's hard to look him in the eye. Came home from work to find my fiancé in bed with someone else. 3 months before the wedding. It gets worse. I'm a female. My ex-fiancé a male. The other person, also a dude. He was using me to hide his sexuality from his family. Too afraid to come out of the closet. It gets worse. I came back the next day for my stuff. He pushed me through a wall and down a flight of stairs. I'm okay now. It was a while ago. Now have a very stable, safe, honest relationship with a great guy, who thankfully isn't cheating, and isn't in the closet. Coming home from work on a Friday night at around midnight with a 6-pack of beer. It was from a bartending job and my neighbors were partying. I was new to the apt complex, but I used to work with the neighbor, so I knew her and her BF. So instead of complaining about the raucous noise, I grabbed 2 beers and headed over to say, "Turn down the music or let me in." I banged on their door. Keep in mind there is a peephole in the app door, and someone who was not her BF opened the door. His name is Jamie, and I recognized him as the BF's co-worker. Jamie is obviously naked, his crotch is hidden by the door. But that was it. Sweaty. I'm thinking I've intruded on some nefarious cheating, and want no ducking part of it. I gasp out an apology and start making a beeline back to my apartment. Somehow he donned pants and managed to chase me back and got to my app door. Just as I got there, with his hand on my door, he says, "It's okay. You can join us. Just please have an open mind. I want no part of this." But I was the one that ducking knocked and spewed out my stupid line about wanting to join before I realized who I was speaking to. Now I felt ducking obligated to act nice because he was. As I was verbally protesting, he led me back down the hallway to her apt, holding me gently by my wrists. The beers were still in each hand, while saying softly over and over, "Just have an open mind." I was so unhappy. As we entered the apt, I saw it was filthy. I mean full on disgusting. So I thought maybe that's why I had to have an open mind, because the place looked like feral animals lived in it, and I was actually starting to feel a sense of relief. As he led me around a corner to the kitchen, I'm absolutely in shock by the amount of filth everywhere. I see the kitchen floor. In fact, I could barely see it, because it literally looked like no one had washed or swept it in years. As I was held mesmerized by the filthy floor, I hear in Gollum's voice, not joking, "Not her." Not her. I raised my eyes above the kitchen floor to see where this voice is coming from. It's coming from my former co-worker who is sitting in the corner of the kitchen naked, except she is wearing a dog collar and some sort of leather dog-like body strap leather shit with her dried up and flappy boob is hanging limply through the leather straps. I always knew she was very skinny and unattractive, but seeing her sitting naked on that horrendously dirty floor and pointing at me with a long, super skinny knobby arm and saying seriously, just like Gollum, not her, not her, umph. I then taken the entire scene. It was just not her sitting on that floor. She was sitting beside her BF who had obviously had thrown on some underwear while Jamie was collecting me. I realized that Jamie had brought me in to add to their disgusting threesome. These are not attractive people, not that world made a difference. But still, I scream, OMFG no, no way, not me, you're ducking right about that. And I run back to my apartment. I'm literally walking in confused circles in my kitchen when I hear a loud knock on my door and I yell, "Get the duck away from me." But the knocking continued. So with my door chain in place I yank the door open and there's Jamie leaning against my door frame and saying, "Shelly is really concerned with what you just saw." I don't remember what I screamed at him, but I screamed at him then slammed the door. Too long didn't read, went to join a neighbor's party. Turned into a Quentin Tarantino movie. I once got my period at school and forgot to bring tampons with me. I had to text my dad, which was very awkward, to bring me a bunch of tampons at school. He brought them to the office and I picked them up. No sooner had I got back to class when I realized I had leaked. I could feel it. I asked to go to the bathroom and inspected the damage. When I got there, it was like World War III in my pants. Apparently I had gushed a good amount all at once, which meant there was blood clearly visible on my butt and down the leg of my jeans. I couldn't even go back to class like that. They were dark blue jeans, so I figured I could rinse them in the sink and you wouldn't be able to tell they were wet. I was very wrong. While rinsing the jeans got the blood out, they were now completely soaked in the crotch. It looked like I sat on the toilet with my pants on and my whole ass fell in. The bell that ends first hour rang while I was still in the bathroom. I had to act fast, so I just soaked my pants entirely and put them back on. You couldn't tell they were wet, but my god it felt awful. I then left the bathroom as fast as I could, hoping to run into my friend who had gym that day so I could borrow his gym shorts. I found him, and he was really confused as to why I was asking for his pants. I told him to touch my leg, and when he felt my soaked jeans he just gave me a look. I told him not to ask, and he gave me his gym shorts. I had to go back to my first period class, wearing shorts that were obviously too big, carrying my jeans, and explain to my teacher that I got sick. That would all be bad enough, but it gets worse. My friends and I would sit on the ground outside for lunch, and apparently I had sat in fresh gum. I didn't realize this until I stood to get up and felt a breeze on my ass. The shorts stuck to the ground and stretched when I got up, effectively making me moon everyone at lunch. After all was said and done, I had to explain to my friend that his shorts were covered in gum and I'd have to clean them before returning them. Fun fact: peanut butter really does get gum out of stuff, and it even works on gym shorts. One night comes to mind. I took an hour-long train ride to San Francisco to meet some friends that were visiting. I ended up skating 6 miles in the wrong direction, then fell and skinned the back of my hand. Finally met my friends, but could only hang out for a short time because it took me so long to get to them. Then my phone was stolen at the train station. The train was full of rowdy drunk people. Then the train hit someone, and we were stopped for 3 hours. A drunk driver almost hit me on my walk home. Then I sharted a couple blocks from home. When I got home I just sat in the shower with a beer. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.